Last time I built some organizational storage shelves for my sewing room closet. To cut the MDF handy panels straight and square, I used a saw guide, also sometimes called a door board. I use these for lots of projects, and I have both a 4-foot long one and an 8-foot long one. I also needed a Cyclone to make my shop vac dust collection system work more efficiently. To see how I made these cool shop tools, stick around and I'll show you right here on Sammy's Workshops. And be sure and click the like, subscribe, and the alert bell to get notified of new videos being uploaded. Before we get to today's project, let's take a moment to talk about workshop safety. Be sure to read, understand, and follow all of the safety rules that come with both your hand and power tools. Knowing how to properly operate your tools and following these safety rules can significantly reduce the risk of damage and/or personal injury. And of course, there are no more important safety rules than to avoid loose clothing, long sleeves, and to wear safety glasses, hearing and respiratory protection as needed. Now let's get to today's project. Hello YouTube, my name is Sammy and welcome back to Sammy's Workshops. Today's video is a trio of shop projects. A pair of saw guides, also known as a door board, these will be in 2 sizes, and a homemade dust collection cyclone from some basic components. I use those saw guides for breaking down full-size sheet goods and for cutting parts to size, as you can see in this video from an upcoming video on a pair of workshop tables I made. Those were for a sewing friend and her sewing workshop. She's got 400 square feet of insulated space for her long arm machine and her classroom. I'm so jealous of you, Miss Deb. Anyway, the saw guides are pretty easy to make, both in the 4-foot and an 8-foot long sections. You'll need 2 pieces of sheet goods for each saw guide. First off, a 2.5 to 3 inch wide guide strip, 2 foot or 4 foot long, and a base piece, also 2 foot or 4 foot long. Now the base piece, we need a few measurements from our skill saw. The measurements I used here are for my Ryobi battery-powered skill saw. You'd want to measure your saw just the same way I show you in the photos here. You want to get the width of your saw base from the blade to one edge and then from the blade to the other edge. Add those 2 numbers together, add an inch, and then also add the width of your guide strip, 2.5 or 3 inches, whatever you cut it to, and that'll give you the rough dimension for the base. You'll want to place the guide strip the distance from one side of that saw base plus about 1/2 inch from either edge of the base piece and glue it down. You can also drill and countersink some 5/8 inch flathead screws at approximately 6 to 8 inch spacing all the way down the length. These are to hold the guide board in place as the glue dries. Once that glue has dried, place your skill saw along the guide board, keeping it in contact with it, and make a cut down the length of the saw guide. Repeat this on the other side using the other side of your saw base and make a second cut. Now you have a guide board that's set up for either side of your saw to make a cut. When you want to make that cut, you simply line the edge of the saw guide up with the place where you want the cut to be, clamp it down, put your saw on it, and make sure you keep the base of the saw up against the edge of the guide strip, and you'll get a perfect straight cut every single time. What a great way to go. Next up, the Cyclone. A 5 or 6 gallon bucket with a lid, a straight 2.5 inch hose fitting mounted in the middle of the lid. I used the crevice tool from my 20 gallon shop vac for the the last piece. I cut a small oval-shaped hole in the side of the bucket, about 2 inches down from the top edge. I screwed the tool in place and then used some multi-purpose silicone caulk to seal the edges of the hole up. I mounted the straight hose connector in the middle of the lid the same way with a scrap of plywood on the inside to strengthen the lid. Mine was a little flimsy, and also so I had some place to set the screws. I let both pieces dry overnight and then hooked up the vacuum hoses the next day, cut a few scraps on my table saw. The unit works really well with most of the sawdust staying in the bucket and almost none getting into the bottom of the shop vac. If I had to buy all the pieces at retail, it probably would cost me about $35 to $40 at full retail price. Full commercial Cyclones run anywhere between $75 and $175 or more, leaving me a lot of savings for lumber and other kinds of tools. If you have questions on this or any other project I've made, please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like, subscribe, and click on the alert bell to get notified of new videos being uploaded. I upload new videos usually each week on Wednesday, with some others in between as time and projects allow. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I have a website for patterns I digitize and plans I download. I'll also have links to the tools and supplies I use in the comments or in the notes down below, so if you want to get the same items, you can find them. And again, links for all of those things will be in the notes down below. And until next time, see ya!